everybody. Welcome to the Brainscapers. We're on another project today. We're going to do a cleanup here. We're going to be power washing all the stone. We got these pavers here. We got a power wash. We got a paver patio over there to power wash. We got stone behind the camera. We got a power wash, and we got all these walls down through here that we're going to clean and power wash. And we'll end up power washing the pavers, and then we'll sand them. So we'll go through that whole process.
I wanted to show you this patio on the stone walls. There's a couple in the back of the yard, and then we're going to have a paver patio here that we're coming up on. All of these are going to be power washed, and the pavers will be power washed, sanded, and sealed. Now we're going to start power washing the front steps here and the small little walls. And the tip that we use is called a Surface Max. It's a turbo nozzle, and it goes from 1600 to 3600 psi for the power washer that I use, and they make bigger ones for bigger power washers, and it costs about $55. And as you can see here, it does a really good job. There's not a lot of work into it. You just kind of let the nozzle do its own job, and it cleans the stone, the pavers, whatever you're working on, really good. No cleaner needed. Now we'll switch to the other wall and show you where we're cleaning up on this one. And you can really tell the difference between where we have cleaned and where we've got to clean. And it makes a huge difference. The stone almost looks new again. Now that we've got the wall cleaned up pretty good, we're going to take and we're going to change the tips on the power washer sprayer. And it's a real light tip, and the spray is really soft. It's either blue or black, ones that come with the power washers. And we just use it to rinse off the debris that's splashed up on the stone or the plants around it, to clean them up a little bit. Now we've got the first step of this project of cleaning up everything completed. We've got all the stone power washed, and they come pretty clean, and I think it looks really good. Our next step will be to start power washing the pavers.
Okay, now we have pavers power washed. We've got all the stone cleaned up pretty good. Our next step is we're going to patch the stone fireplace here. It's been a few years, and because of the heat and everything, it doesn't have fire brick inside of it. It's just stone, and some of the joints have started to come out. So we're going to patch that. Then the next thing after that would be to sand all the pavers. We got the patio behind the camera. We got it all power washed, ready to. That stone over there washed. Good morning. Today we're going to clean up the joints of these stones where they've cracked and remortar it. We got all the stone and pavers power wash, so we're going to work on this today. I have a brick hammer, and I have a chisel, and we're just going to take and easily tap the mortar joints off. Some of the bricks, it's not brick, it's stone. Some of these stones we'll have to take out, clean them up a little bit. We got a few man-made stone that was put on the front of the house that fell off. We're going to take those out and trim them up a little bit too. We'll continue this process all the way around, and then we'll come back, mix up some mortar and reset it all. Okay, some of these joints are just cracked. Can't really chisel them out. We got stones that were bad out. We chiseled them. So where some of these are just cracked, we're going to cut some of it out so we get more mortar inside of it to hold it better. I'm going to use a small little diamond tip saw to do it. Of course, dust always flies toward the camera, but we'll go around, we'll do the rest the same way. Okay, it's time to mix up the mortar. Got my sand, my mortar in here. I'm using type S mortar. It's just a gray looking mortar. It's not a color mix. I will pull it back and forth like 3 times until I get it mixed really good together. Then I'll add water to it, and then I'll do that again. I'll pull it back and forth 3 times. Make sure that the mortar is mixed really good before I start laying the stone.
Now I've got the mortar in the wheelbarrow. I'm going to dry mix it, and I take and I chop it up pretty good, pull it back to one side, and as I said before, I'll do this process about 3 times to make sure that the mortar's mixed up really good. You want it to where it's mixed good enough that it's hard to tell the difference between the mortar and the sand, and it's blended really well.
Okay, now I've got my mortar and sand dry mixed pretty good, pretty thorough. I've done it 3 different times. I'm gonna add some water. Just add a little water at a time until I get the mixture the way I want.
Now that I've got the water poured into the mix, I'll be chopping the mortar into the water, mixing it pretty thorough. I'll do this back and forth, maybe 3 or 4 times until I get the mortar exactly the way that I want it to lay the stone. They make a pre-mix that you can buy in a bag that all you have to do is add water to it and mix it up. Okay, we'll take the mortar and we'll lay it on top of the stone below. And then we'll take the pieces and we'll set them in there gently, kind of smash them down a little bit. Try not to squeeze too much mortar. We don't want the mortar falling on the pavers. There's going to be some, but try to keep as much off of it as possible. Take our trowel, kind of clean the edges up a little bit, then take the hammer, kind of tap it down in place. And we'll start taking some mortar and packing it in the joints, tapping it in good.
We'll continue doing this all the way around, and then when we get done, we'll let it dry up enough, then we'll come back and clean it up. This seems to be drying up a little bit, so we're going to start cleaning it up. Take a flat trowel and just kind of clean it up a little bit. The tuck point to the front. It's a little bit wet there. I'll have to come back to that. Take a wire brush and kind of knock the mortar off of the stone. Take a soft broom. Sweep it, make it a little bit cleaner, a bit smoother. And once we get done, and it dries pretty good, we'll take a brush like this and a little water. We'll clean our edges up a little bit better. Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to sweep in the sand on the pavers. And what I'm going to use here is a G2. It's a Gator Max mix. This is a beige color, brown buff, whatever you want to call it. It's supposed to be dust free, and it's one of the best ones I found on the market so far that I like. So I spread it pretty thick to begin with, take my broom, and I get a good covering over it. Then after I get a good covering over it, I'll come back and I'll sweep it in as fine as I can. Then I take a blower and I lightly blow all the dust that's left on it off before I seal it.
Now I have poured 1 bag of sand onto the pavers, and I only pour 1 bag at a time when I'm sweeping it in to make sure that I don't have too much excess at the end of sweeping everything in. And then I'll put a pretty thick covering over top of the pavers to begin with, and then I'll come back after I get a good area of it swept in really thick, and then I'll sweep it really fine. Now I'm trying to sweep the sand in a little bit finer, as you can see, trying to make sure that all the joints are filled in really good. And I probably will come back and go over this one more time, and then I'll come back with a blower and blow it all off. Now I'm going to take the blower and I'm going to gently blow all the dust and little particles that are sticking on top of the pavers off, so that when I seal it, it doesn't stick to the pavers. And as you can see, there's a little bit of dust coming off of it when I use that blower. And this is a battery operated blower, and I really like it because it doesn't blow really hard for doing this process.
Okay, now we've got the sand all swept in the pavers. Got it blowed off pretty good, so it's time to start sealing. So what I got here is this is a commercial tank sprayer. They make 2 different kinds. They make one for water base and they make one for solvent base. And this is a water base. That's what I use most of the time. I like the water base look. So I take a funnel and I put in there, and I got a screen that I use. And the reason I put the screen in there is because you can get little pieces of things out of the sealer that kind of clogs up the sprayer, and it just makes it a big problem if you got to stop and take your tip off to get that little piece out. So I use the screen to try to get it as clean as possible. This is a 5-gallon bucket. This will hold 3.5 gallons, but I normally like to just try to put 3 gallons in it.
Now it's time to start sealing. I've cut me a piece of cardboard, kind of a square piece there with a handle in it. And I use it to put up against the wall and the door and so forth when I'm spraying so it doesn't splatter up onto the walls or on the window door. And if it does splatter up on the window, I usually get a paper towel or something of that nature or cloth and wipe the windows down immediately before the sealer starts to harden. Now in this area here, I'm going to spray the stone wall that we laid with the sealer also, help protect it. It's in the shade a lot, and there's a lot of, I'm going to say, dirt, filth, mold that gets on it. This will really help protect it from all that.
Okay, everybody, we finished our job here, and we even shot some videos on the plants and so forth and other things. I mean, we power washed all the stone, we power washed the pavers, we laid the top layer of that stone right there, we reset some stone in front, we got some video of all that. But we're finished with the project. I think it turned out really good. It almost looks like it did the same day
It does.
it was done. I'm Brooks,
I'm Roots.
and she is part of the landscaping. They did the landscaping here. I did the pavers, and I did the little fire pit, and I did a little bit of stone work that's behind the camera there. And I just wanted her to be a part of the closeout here because we did a lot of video of the plants and so forth that we're going to be putting up on YouTube. So we thank you for watching everything, and if you will, please subscribe. Gives us a thumb up. Big old thumbs.
This is a project that we did approximately 15 years ago. We originally built this together. Today we restored it back to its original glory, and we just wanted to let you know, and it turned out beautiful.
And if you got any comments or any questions, there's going to be quite a bit of video on this place here, and we would like to answer your comments. Anything else? I'm starting to stutter here. Trying
It's
to
hot.
think of, yeah. Oh, how can you tell?
Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
And you have a good day.